The story begins in Spain, just before Christmas Eve. Manel, a lawyer and owner of a solar power company, visits his older sister Belaine with his wife, Julia. They spend time with Belaine's husband, Mario, and their son, Carlos. On the drive home, Manel and Julia discuss his hesitation about having children. But their conversation takes a tragic turn when a car accident claims Julia's life. A year later, Manel lives in isolation with his cat, Luculo, in his home in Galicia, keeping minimal contact with his family. Meanwhile, a deadly virus known as TSJ spreads rapidly across Europe, turning those infected into violent and aggressive creatures. In an effort to prevent mass panic, the Spanish government tries to suppress information about the outbreak. Meanwhile, Belaine's family is evacuated to the Canary Islands for safety. When Manel tries to join them, the government suddenly closes the borders and declares a state of emergency. Despite the military's efforts to evacuate the remaining population, he promises Belaine that he will stay at home. As Manel's supplies run low and communication fails, he loses all contact with his family, unsure of their fate. While searching for food, he meets Gabriela, an elderly woman left behind during the evacuation due to mobility issues. They work together to gather supplies, and Gabriela tells Manel about a radio transmission, urging survivors to head to the Arousa estuary for evacuation to the Canary Islands. Determined to escape, Manel plans to use the boat that he and Julia once owned. But the next morning, he makes a heartbreaking discovery. Gabriela has taken her own life, not wanting to be a burden. Equipped with a diving suit and a speargun for defense, Manel sets out with Luculo toward the docks. He narrowly escapes a horde of infected individuals and finds that all larger boats are either gone or unusable. Using an inflatable dinghy, he sails toward Pontevedra, but is intercepted by a group of armed Russian sailors, led by Captain Ushchekov. Among them is Viktor Prochenko, a former Ukrainian firefighting pilot, who informs Manel that the Canary Islands have been quarantined. Prochenko enlists Manel's help in searching for supplies. One night, Manel witnesses another group of refugees arriving and seeking help, but the next morning, Prochenko denies their presence, and Manel observes the crew looting the refugees' belongings. Feeling threatened, Manel tells Prochenko about a helicopter at the hospital in Pontevedra, hoping it could be their means of escape. After failing to persuade him, Manel tries to escape alone but stumbles upon two imprisoned refugees on the ship. While trying to free them, a guard intervenes, leading to a confrontation, where Prochenko kills the guard, and they escape together on a motorboat. During the escape, one of the refugees is killed, and Prochenko is wounded. When they arrive at the hospital, they discover that the helicopter is gone. Inside, they encounter a nurse named Lucia, a nun named Cecilia, and 3 children hiding from the infected. After treating Prochenko's injuries, Lucia reveals another helicopter, located in a courtyard overrun by the infected. As they get ready to reach it, Ushchekov's men arrive, searching for supplies, forcing the group to navigate through the hospital's underground passages. During an attack by the infected, Cecilia is bitten, and stays behind to hold them off. The rest reach the helicopter pad, but are confronted by Ushchekov and his men. In a desperate move, Manel opens a locked gate, allowing the infected to swarm in and overpower Ushchekov's group. The survivors board the helicopter and escape. As they approach the Canary Islands, Manel finally makes contact with Belaine, but she urgently warns them to stay away. Moments later, fighter jets roar past, a clear sign that the outbreak has already reached the islands, leaving their fate unknown.